Good morning, students. Up to now, we have discussed linear IC applications unit 1. In that, we discussed about the differential amplifier. So, what are all the different types of differential amplifiers we have and their applications, and operational amplifier and its applications, and we also discussed about the DC characteristics of operational amplifier and etc. So, in this unit number 2, we are going to discuss about the operational amplifier feedback configuration and its frequency response. So, this unit is divided into two parts. One is the feedback configurations concept, another one is the frequency response concept. Okay, so let us see the topics to be covered in this unit. So, in the part 1 of the unit number 2, we are going to see about the feedback, introduction to the feedback and feedback configurations, voltage series feedback, voltage shunt feedback, and differential amplifiers and properties of the practical op amp. So, these are all the topics that we are going to cover in a part 1 of our unit number 2. And next is the second part is frequency response. In this frequency response concept, we are going to see about what is frequency response, which is the AC characteristics of our operational amplifier, and the compensating network and frequency response of internally compensated operational amplifier and non-compensated operational amplifiers, high frequency op amp equivalent circuit, open loop versus frequency, and the closed loop frequency response, circuit stability, and slew rate. So these are all the topics that we are going to discuss in the unit number 2. So before going into the topics, the feedback concepts, we should know about what is open loop op amp. So we have already discussed in the unit number 1 what is open loop op amps, and let us quickly review into that one. So in case of amplifiers, the term open loop indicates no connection exists between input and output terminals of any type. So the open loop in the sense there is no connection between output to the input side. Okay, no connection. So it may be the output signal not fed back in any form as part of the input signal. So any form in the sense either directly or indirectly. That directly in the sense from the output side to input side, we can use one wire to feedback our output signal into the input side. So indirect format in the sense by using some feedback network like a resistive feedback network or the capacitive feedback network or inductive feedback network, we can give the output signal into the input side. Okay, that is called as indirect feedback. Okay, so the open loop configuration does not have any of these two types, either direct feedback or indirect feedback. This is entirely different. Okay, so the open loop configuration op amp diagram is shown here. So you can observe the two inputs are there and one output is there, and this output signal is not fed back to the input here. There is no wires or no any elements that used here from the output to the input side. Okay, this is the open loop configuration, but we have some limitations using this open loop configuration. Let us see the limitations of open loop op amp configurations. Okay, only the smaller signals having the low frequency may be amplified. Okay, so if you use the open loop op amp configuration, the smaller signals having the low frequency may be amplified. That is the one of the problem using the open loop configuration. The open loop gain varies with the temperature and the supply. Okay, the open loop gain is not a constant. It may vary with the temperature or it may vary with the supply voltages what we are applying to the operational amplifier. And the next limitation is bandwidth of open loop op amp is negligibly small. The bandwidth is very small. We can't give more signals as an input for this open loop configuration. We already know the gain of the operational amplifier, open loop operational amplifier is high, but the bandwidth is very narrow. the linear range of operation of the open loop configuration is approximately 130 microvolts. So in that small range only we can give the voltage. After that it won't work. It will give the output voltage of plus V saturation or minus V saturation. So okay, that is the limitation of our open loop op-amp configuration. And the next limitation is it's not suitable for the linear applications. So we already discussed the linear range of operation of a open loop configuration is small, 130 or 120 microvolts only. Okay, so it is not suitable for the linear range of operation because our input voltages may be greater than that 120 microvolts range. Okay, so next one, to overcome these limitations we are going for the negative feedback operational amplifiers. First of all, we are using the feedback in the operational amplifiers. Okay, let us see the closed loop amplifier. So in that we should first know about what is feedback. Okay, so the feedback definition gives a portion of the output signal is fed back to the input is called as feedback. Okay, we are not giving the entire output signal as input to our as a feedback. Okay, but we are giving some portion of the output signal as a feedback to the input side. Okay, that is called as a feedback. Okay, amplifier using feedbacks are called closed loop amplifier. This is the definition for the closed loop amplifier. What is closed loop amplifier? The amplifier which uses the feedback is called as closed loop amplifier. The gain of the operational amplifier can be controlled if the feedback is introduced in the circuit. So one of the limitation in the open loop configuration is the gain is varies with the temperature and supply voltages. So that problem will rectify when we use the closed loop configuration. Okay, so the gain will be controlled when we use the closed loop configuration. Okay, then this is the diagram of the closed loop configuration. So let us see, from the output side to the input side we are using one resistive feedback network. So this resistor name is RF. So R suffix F, which means that feedback resistor. Okay, so by using this feedback section we are giving some portion of the output signal again back to the input side. Okay, so these feedbacks are divided into two types. One is the positive feedback, another one is a negative feedback. So let us see the definition for the positive feedback. If the input signal and output signal are in phase, then the feedback is called as positive feedback. Okay, so here at the input side we will have the two input signals. So one is the original input signal V2. In this diagram V2 is the one of the input signal that we are applying from the external source. Okay, and another input signal is the some portion of the output signal which is coming through the feedback network RF. Okay, so at this node we will have the two input signal, one is the V2, another one is the feedback voltage VF. Okay, so these two signals, one is V2, another one is VF. If V2 and VF both are in phase in the sense same polarity, then that is called 0 degrees phase shift between the two signals, then that type of feedback is called as positive feedback. Okay, so let us see the negative feedback definition. If the input signal and the feedback signal are in out of phase in the sense 180 degrees phase shift, then the feedback is called as a negative feedback. So as we already seen, the input signal V2 and the feedback signal VF both are out of phase. If one is in positive, another one is a negative phase, then definitely 180 degrees phase shift will be occurred. Then that type of feedback is called as a negative feedback. Okay, these are all the feedback configurations we have and advantages of negative feedback. But when compared with the positive feedback, the negative feedback has more advantage than the positive feedback. Let us see the advantages of negative feedback. It reduces the gain, makes it controllable. Okay, so if we use a negative feedback, then the gain will reduces and we can also control the gain. So the gain reduction is actually a problem, but in operational amplifier that is a useful one, because the open loop op amp gain is very high, so that much gain we don't need. Okay, even though that much gain is present, our output voltage is always the plus or minus V saturation voltages. So that's why we have to reduce the open loop gain. So that will be done by the negative feedback circuits. It reduces the possibility of distortion. If you use the negative feedback, then the distortion also get reduces. It increases the input resistance and decreases the output resistance of the op amp. Okay, it increases the input resistance. So that is the main advantage. If the input resistance is more, then our circuit will not be the load for the source. Okay, will not give loading effect on the source, and output resistance will decreases. If the output resistance is small, then we can drive the number of loads. Okay, that is also advantage. So increase in the bandwidth and reduces the effect of temperature on gain. Okay, so when we use the negative feedback, bandwidth will increases, and which reduces the effect of temperature on gain. So the gain will not vary with the temperature. Okay, these are all the advantages when we use the negative feedback. Let us see about the feedback configurations. So a closed loop amplifier can be represented in two blocks. One is the op amp block, another one is the feedback block. Okay, so in closed loop configuration we have two blocks. So one is the op amp block, another one is the feedback block section. Okay, these two blocks, how they are interconnected, based on that these configurations are divided into four major types. Okay, so these four major feedback configurations are voltage series feedback, next one is voltage shunt feedback, third one is the current series feedback, and fourth one is the current shunt feedback. These four are very important. In this, the main configurations what we are using in operational amplifier is voltage series feedback and voltage shunt feedback. Okay, these two are more important than the remaining two things. Let us see these configurations, block diagrams. First one is voltage series feedback. This is the block diagram for voltage series feedback. Okay, this is the op amp block and this one is the feedback block. Okay, the name itself indicates voltage series. The word one voltage refers the sampling, and the second word series represents the mixing. The voltage sampling means we are taking the output voltage. Okay, so we are capturing the output voltage and then giving to the feedback section. This feedback section will do some operation on this output voltage and it produces some feedback voltage Vf. This feedback voltage is again mixing with the input voltage. Okay, so here the voltage sampling can be done by using the parallel connection between the output, okay, between the output to the feedback block. Okay, this feedback section input is output voltage V0 and the load output is also V0. Okay, the same output voltage V0 is flowing in the load as well as the feedback block. Okay, this feedback section will gives you one feedback output voltage which is Vf, which is called as feedback voltage Vf. This Vf we are mixing with the input voltage in series format. Okay, the series refers to the mixing. We are mixing the Vin voltage with the Vf voltage. Okay, therefore we can say Vin plus Vf is our the differential voltage Vd of our operational amplifier. Okay, so based on the feedback voltage, whether it is a positive feedback or a negative feedback, we will get Vin minus Vf or Vin plus Vf. Okay, if it is a negative feedback, we will get Vd is equal to Vin minus Vf. If it is a positive feedback, then Vd is equal to Vin plus Vf. Like that we will get, okay, based upon the whether the feedback is positive or negative. Okay, this is about the voltage series feedback. So we already discussed these topics in the electronic circuit analysis. Okay, let us see the next feedback section, voltage shunt feedback. So in voltage shunt feedback configuration, we are sampling the voltage. So again, the voltage sampling can be done by using the parallel connection. The load RL and the feedback section both are in parallel configuration. Therefore, the same voltage V0 will flow in a load section as well as the feedback section. And the second mode shunt represent the mixing. So we can mix the current in shunt format. So that's why the input current I in is getting mixed with the feedback current IF. Okay. So as we are mixing current, this I in current is in parallel with the feedback current IF. Next is the current series feedback. Okay, here the first word represents the sampling. So we are sampling the current here, not the voltage. So that's why the series configuration is used here. So first the load current will flow through the load. Again it will go to the feedback section. Then it will come back to the operational amplifier. Okay, this is the loop. So if we are using a series loop like this, then the same current IL will flow in the load section as well as the feedback section. So that's why we are sampling the current here, and mixing is a series mixing. In series we can mix the voltage. So that's why here VF voltage, the output of the feedback section is a voltage which is called as VF feedback voltage. That VF will get added with the VIN voltage of our in operational amplifier, input voltage of our operational amplifier. Then after adding these two voltages, we will get the differential input voltage of our operational amplifier. So let us see the next feedback configuration, which is current shunt feedback. So the word one is a current. So we are sampling the current. So how we can sample the current? By using the series connection in between the load and feedback section. If load and feedback sections are in series configuration, then the same current IL will flow. Therefore, we can capture the load current IL. We can sample the load current IL, and the mixing is a shunt mixing, which means that we are mixing the current. Okay, in is a one current and IF is the feedback current generated in the feedback section. Okay, so in this node, we are parallelly connecting the input current and the feedback currents. Therefore, at this node, this input current and feedback current both will get added. Okay, the direction of IF is depends upon whether the feedback signal is in phase or out of phase, which means that whether it is a positive feedback or negative feedback. Okay, so after adding these two input currents, then which generates the input current for the operational amplifier II. These are all the four feedback configurations of our operational amplifier. Let us see one important topic in the operational amplifiers, which is called virtual ground. Okay, so the op amps, the term virtual ground means that the voltage at that particular node is almost equal to zero, which means 0 volts. Okay, so the virtual ground concept in the sense it is virtual, it is not real, which is not physically present. Okay, but the voltage at that particular node is equal to the 0 volts. Okay, so that type of node is called as a virtual ground. So that is exists in our operational amplifier. So this virtual ground concept is more useful in the problem solving or deriving the equations for our operational amplifier. Okay, so this is not present, not physically connected to the ground. This node is not physically connected to the ground, but the voltage at that potential is equal to the ground potential, which is equal to 0. See this diagram. Okay, so in this diagram, this node is called as a virtual ground. Okay, so we already know non-inverting input is given to the ground, but the inverting terminal of our op amp is given to the VIN voltage through R1 resistor. but I am saying the voltage at this node is almost equal to the 0, so that we can say the voltage at V1 terminal is 0 and voltage at V2 terminal is also 0, approximately equal to 0. So why this happens? Because the input impedance of our operational amplifier is high, and also we have one more derivation in order to get the virtual ground concept. Okay, see, we know that the open loop gain or differential gain of our operational amplifier AD is equal to V0 by VIN, where V0 is the output voltage and VIN is the input voltage for our operational amplifier. And we know that the differential gain AD of open loop op amp is infinity. The gain of our op amp is infinity. So if you apply the infinity in this equation in order to get the VIN, if you rearrange this equation, VIN is equal to V0 by infinity. Anything by infinity which results 0. Therefore, the VIN is equal to 0. When we substitute AD is equal to infinity, then VIN we will get as 0 volts. Therefore, the input voltage for our operational amplifier is 0. In the above circuit, the V1 is connected to the ground. So V1 is equal to 0. Fine. So V1 is connected to the ground. Therefore, V1 is equal to 0, which is real ground. Okay. Thus, V2 also will be at ground potential because the VIN is nothing but the differential voltage. Okay. VIN is nothing but our differential voltage. The differential voltage is equal to V2 minus V1 or V1 minus V2. In this case, it is V1 minus V2, right? So V1 is equal to 0. Then definitely V2 is also equal to 0 because the VIN voltage is 0 for our operational amplifier. Okay, therefore definitely the voltage at this particular node is equal to the 0, almost 0. So this concept is called as virtual ground concept. Okay, the virtual ground concept is very useful in the analysis of op amp when the negative feedback is employed. Okay, so the virtual ground concept will says the voltage at the two inputs of our operational amplifier is equal to the 0 when one terminal is grounded. Okay, so if this terminal is grounded, definitely the voltage at the another terminal is also equal to 0 only. This is called virtual ground concept. Let us see the closed loop op amp configurations. Up to now, we have seen about the open loop op amp configuration and the virtual ground concept. In the closed loop op amp configurations, we are using the concept called virtual ground. Okay, so in general, op amp is used in a closed loop configuration to increase the linear range of operation because the open loop op amp configuration has very low linear operating range. So that's why we are going for the closed loop configuration, okay, in which the linear range of operation of the op amp will increases. Next one, so in this closed loop op amp configuration, we have three main types. Those are inverting amplifier. It is nothing but the voltage shunt amplifier. And second one is non-inverting amplifier, which is also called as voltage series amplifier. And the third one is the differential amplifier. These are all the three main configurations of closed loop. Okay, op amp closed loop configurations. So now we are going to see about one by one non-inverting amplifier, inverting amplifier and differential amplifier one by one, and also we are going to derive the closed loop gains and input resistances of each configurations. Let us see these configurations one by one. First of all, we will see ideal configuration. Thereafter, we will go for the practical configurations. So first we will see about ideal inverting amplifier. Okay, ideal inverting amplifier. Ideal in the sense there is no losses in that configuration. In that amplifier, there is no losses. The gain of our op amp will be equal to the infinity, and input resistance is equal to infinity and output resistance is equal to 0, like that we will consider in ideal case. Okay, this is the circuit for ideal inverting amplifier. Okay, how we can say it is inverting amplifier, because the Vi in voltage is given to the inverting terminal of our operational amplifier, and the non-inverting terminal has been given to the ground potential. Okay, if non-inverting terminal is ground and we are using the inverting terminal for giving the input to our op amp, then that configuration is called as inverting amplifier configuration. Okay, in this, R1 is the input resistance and RF is the feedback resistance. Okay, so it which forms the feedback path from the output side to the input side. Okay, Vin is the input voltage for our op amp and V0 is the output voltage, and I is the current flowing in the R1 resistor, and IB is the current flowing into the operational amplifier, which is approximately equal to the 0. Therefore, at this node A, if you apply the KCL, then I entering current is I and leaving current is also I, because the input current for our op amp is 0. Okay, so an amplifier which provides a phase shift of 180 degrees between the input and output is called inverting amplifier. Okay, this is the definition for inverting amplifier. An amplifier which provides a phase shift of 180 degrees between the input and output is called inverting amplifier. Let us derive the equation for I is equal to, I current is equal to Vin minus Va divided by the R1. Okay, so now we are going to derive I in this place. I is equal to Vin minus Va divided by R1. According to the virtual ground, we know that the voltage at the both input terminals is equal to 0, which means that Va is equal to Vb is equal to 0. Va and Vb both are equal to 0 because the Vb has been given to the ground potential. Therefore, I equation can be given as, after substituting Va is equal to 0, I is equal to Vin by R1, which is equation number 1. From the output side, if you derive the equation for the I, then what is I? I is equal to the direction of current is in this side, so that's why Va minus V0 divided by the RF. And according to the virtual ground concept, Va is equal to Vb is equal to 0. Therefore, here Va will be equal to the 0. Therefore, after substituting the 0 here, I is equal to minus V0 by RF, which is equation number 2. Okay, so the entire current is I is passes through RF as op amp input current is 0. In this node, you can observe the entire current I is flowing in the feedback section only, RF section only, not going into the operational amplifier. The IB is equal to 0 because the input resistance of our op amp is very high, so that no current will flow into the operational amplifier. Okay, therefore this I is approximately equal to the feedback section I current. Okay, therefore we can equate the equation number 1 and equation number 2. So these two equations are going to be equate. Okay, when we equate those equation 1 and 2, Vin by R1 is equal to minus V0 by Rf. Okay, then rearrange this equation in order to get the gain, the closed loop gain of ideal inverting amplifier. So what is the gain? The gain is the ratio of output voltage to the input voltage. Here we can see the output voltage which is in right hand side and Vin is in left hand side. If you take this Vin to the right hand side, then we can write the closed loop gain of the ideal inverting amplifier AVF is equal to V0 divided by Vin, which is equal to minus Rf divided by R1. Okay, this is the ideal inverting amplifier gain with feedback. Okay, when we use the feedback section, Then what is the gain of the ideal inverting amplifier, which is minus RF by R1. Okay, so let us see ideal inverting amplifier input and output waveforms. This is the input waveform, input sinusoidal waveform for our ideal inverting amplifier, and this is the output waveform for our inverting amplifier. So we can observe 180 degrees phase shift between the input and output. When the input is in the positive half cycle, output is in negative half cycle. When the input is in negative half cycle, output will be in the positive half cycle. Okay, like that, which is the input and output both are in 180 degrees phase shifted versions. Okay, this is about the ideal inverting amplifier. Let us see ideal non-inverting amplifier configuration. This is the circuit for ideal non-inverting amplifier. How we can say it is a non-inverting amplifier? In this configuration, this non-inverting terminal is used to give the input voltage VIN. Okay, and this inverting terminal is grounded through the resistor R1, and the feedback section was from the output side to the input side through RF resistor. Okay, so this RF is forming the feedback section from output side to the input side. Okay, so when we are using the non-inverting terminal as the input, then that configuration is called as non-inverting op-amp configuration or non-inverting amplifier. Okay, so definition for non-inverting amplifier: an amplifier which amplifies the input and output producing any phase shift without input and output without producing any phase shift. Okay, then that type of an amplifier is called non-inverting amplifier. An amplifier which does not produce any phase shift between the input and output or 0 degrees phase shift, then that is called as a non-inverting amplifier. So now we have to derive what is the gain of this ideal non-inverting amplifier. According to the virtual ground concept, VA is equal to VB. The voltage at the both input terminals of our op amp is equal. VA is equal to VB. Okay, but here the VB has been given to the VIN. Therefore, VA is equal to VB is equal to VIN. Okay, so this is the node B, and here we have the node A. Okay, so VA is equal to VB, which is equal to VIN. That is equation number 1. And from the output side, we can write the equation for the current I. So I current is flowing from the output side to the input side. So that's why we have to write the I current equation like V naught minus VA divided by RF. V naught minus VA divided by RF. Therefore, from the virtual ground, VA is nothing but VIN. Therefore, we can substitute VIN in the place of VA. Therefore, I is equal to V naught minus VIN by RF, which is equation number 2. Now, at the inverting terminal here, the entire current I is flowing in the R1 resistor only, because the input current for our op amp is 0. In the ideal case, the input current for the operational amplifier is 0. So that's why the I current equation can be written as VA minus V0 divided by R1. So why it is 0? Because in this side we are giving the R1 resistor to the ground terminal. Okay, therefore VA minus 0 by R1. Okay, now VA is equal to, according to the virtual ground, VA VB is equal to VIN only. So instead of VA, we are writing VIN by R1, which is equation number 3. Now we are going to equate the equation number 2 and 3. So equation number 2 will says V naught minus VIN by RF is equal to, and equation number 3 is VIN by R1. Okay, both LHS are I currents only, so we are equating the RHS terms. So if you observe the left hand side and right hand side, we have VIN terms, so we have to take the VIN by RF to the right hand side, and then we can write V naught by Rf is equal to Vi in by R1 plus Vi in plus Rf. Vi in by Rf. Okay. So now we can take the Vi in as common here, and we can write the equation like V naught by Rf is equal to Vi in into R1 plus Rf by R1 plus Rf after taking the LCM. Therefore, we want the closed loop gain of our non-inverting amplifier. So that's why we have to get the ratio between the output voltage to the input voltage. So output voltage is already there in here LHS side. Therefore, we have to take the input voltage to the left hand side. So V naught by V in is equal to R1 plus Rf divided by R1 plus Rf into Rf. Okay, this Rf is going to the right hand side and getting multiplied here. Okay, after multiplication, this Rf and Rf will get cancelled. We will get R1 plus Rf by R1. Okay, so again, if you split this equation, R1 by R1 is 1 plus Rf by R1. 1 plus Rf by R1 we will get. Therefore, the closed loop voltage gain of ideal non-inverting amplifier AVF is equal to V naught by Vi in, which is equal to 1 plus Rf by R1. This is the standard equation for non-inverting amplifier gain 1 plus Rf by R1. So one thing we can observe here, 1 plus this Rf by R1. So the gain of the non-inverting amplifier is definitely greater than 1 here. Okay, because the minimum is 1, definitely, because 1 is there, 1 plus this thing. Okay, Rf by R1, even though the Rf and R1 are 0, but the gain must be equal to the 1. Okay, the positive sign here. So in the last ideal inverting amplifier, we got minus Rf by R1 as a gain. So there minus indicates that the input and output both are out of phase. So in this equation, we does not got any negative sign. So we got only the positive sign. So okay, this positive sign indicates that no phase shift between the input and output terminals. Okay, and the minimum gain is equal to 1. So in this equation itself we can say 1 plus. Okay, therefore the minimum gain is 1 only. Let us see the input and output waveforms of ideal non-inverting amplifier. So here this is the input waveform and this one is the output waveform. One thing we can observe, both are same. There is no difference between input waveform and output waveform. Input is in positive half cycle, output is also in positive half cycle. If the input is in negative half cycle, output is also in the negative half cycle. There is no phase shift, so 0 degrees phase shift we can say. Then this type of configuration is called as non-inverting configuration. If the input and output waveforms are inverting, then that is called the inverting configuration. If the input and output waveforms are without phase shift, then that type of configuration is called as non-inverting amplifier configuration.